In the heart of Singapore, nestled among the city's vibrant streets, there stood an old secondary school with a dark history. Whispers of mysterious occurrences circulated among the students, but none dared to explore the eerie stories that lingered within its walls. One gloomy evening, a group of friends, Ella, Marcus, and May, decided to unravel the secrets of their school. As night fell, they sneaked into the deserted corridors, armed with flashlights and a sense of trepidation. The air grew thick with an unexplainable tension as they ventured into the heart of the school. Their first stop was the abandoned chemistry lab, where a tragic incident had occurred years ago. As they entered, the temperature plummeted and their breaths hung in the air. Suddenly, faint footsteps echoed behind them, but when they turned, the halls were empty. The group pressed on, guided by an otherworldly force. The whispers of long-forgotten spirits echoed through the hallways, telling tales of unresolved mysteries. Unseen hands brushed against the students, leaving a chilling trail of fear. Shadows danced, seemingly alive, as the group approached the dreaded basement, a place forbidden to all. In the dimly lit basement, they stumbled upon an old projector, revealing eerie images of past students and the ghostly figures that haunted them. The temperature dropped further, and a cold gust of wind extinguished their flashlights. Panic set in as the projector flickered to life, showcasing a ghostly figure moving toward them. Terrified, the group rushed to escape, but the hallways seemed to shift and elongate, trapping them within the school's malevolent grasp. As they ran, ghostly apparitions materialized before them, each one a specter of the school's tormented past. Faces of the deceased students contorted in agony, reaching out for release. Ella, Marcus, and May finally stumbled upon the school's forgotten chapel, a place where restless spirits found solace. Desperation drove them to recite an ancient incantation they discovered, hoping to appease the vengeful entities. The chapel trembled as the spirits wailed, and a blinding light enveloped the room. When the light subsided, the group found themselves standing outside the school. The oppressive atmosphere lifted. The once menacing building stood silent and empty, its dark secrets seemingly appeased. In the aftermath, Ella, Marcus, and May shared a pact of silence, knowing that some secrets are better left undisturbed. The whispers in the halls faded, but the chilling echoes of that night lingered, forever haunting the memories of those who dared to uncover the mysteries of their haunted secondary school. However, are they really out from the school? A newspaper article dated back to 1997 said that 3 students went missing without a trace, and they were last seen in school chemistry lab. When I was 21 years old, I worked part-time as a relief teacher at the nearby secondary 2 Street, down my house. My main job role is to provide instant replacement for full-time teacher who couldn't attend the class due whatever reason it may be. Overall, my job was pretty relaxing, as I don't usually get called to class often. Most of the time, I'd be the one who leave the school earliest once the school closed. However, on this particular day, my coworker Johnny was on urgent medical leave. You also call him as my boss. He requested me to take over his slot for a night class at 7:30 p.m. Generally, I was reluctant, but I have no choice as I haven't got a job yet, and I couldn't afford to lose this job. I still remember it was a math class, and that class is notorious for being known as the most rebellious class in school. I think to myself, Jesus Christ, I should be home sleeping and playing my video game and not stressing my blood pressure out tolerating young punk who have no interest in their future. Johnny instructed me on what to prepare for the classes and whose are the more naughtier kids that I should be aware of. He also emphasized not to use the Exit B staircase after 7 p.m. I asked him why, but he didn't want to tell me the reason behind it. I just brushed it off thinking that probably it was going to be closed for maintenance work at night. By 6 p.m., all the staff and students will have be gone by then, leaving only the students who is attending the night classes. I look at the clock, 7:20 p.m. I say to myself, I guess it's time. I drag my feet out of my office at level 1 and slowly walk toward BLKB. The class is at level 5. As the night is already dark and some of the light will off, I have to take another path with lights onto the BLK. I reach the basement of BLK stating exit B. As I talk to myself, isn't there supposed to be close for maintenance or sort? I figure out that probably the worker are not here yet to close off the entry, so I make my way up slowly to the level. As I was climbing up the stairs, I can't help but feel uneasy as I proceed further up the block. It was as if someone was watching me from the back. I also noticed that I required more strength and energy to climb up the stairs. It was just on the 5th level, and I feel like I all climbed 12 level of the block. I couldn't help but to look at the level I was in. To my horror, the level stated level 2. I couldn't believe what I just saw. And how could I have only climbed up 2 levels? It was impossible. I knew I must have climbed up the staircase for at least 5 minutes. It shouldn't be at level 2. I immediately hastened my speed, thinking it was just my hallucination. And I am just tired from the long day of replacement classes today. As I walk up, I was shocked to see that it was level 2 again. It was as if I'm going around in circles. I couldn't believe my eyes and tried to digest what is going on here. I pick up my phone. I call Johnny. Johnny, I need your help. I'm circling around the same level over and over again. I don't know what is going on, and what is it that you're trying to warn me about for exit B? There was a long silence. I could hear him taking a deep breath before answering me. I told you not to use exit B after 7 p.m. Now you are stuck with whoever is there. What do you mean, whoever is there? Michael. That staircase is a portal, not for the living. Now you are in. You can only wait until the next morning when the sun rises before you can leave. I am sorry, I can't help you. You're on your own. As the phone disconnected, I hear a kid's voice giggling in the hallway of level 2. It was very muffled, but I definitely know what I heard. I know whoever is there definitely is not human. I mustered up my courage to walk toward the eerie hallway, not knowing what to expect at this so-called portal. That was the worst decision I have ever made. You wouldn't believe what I saw next. I saw a young girl at the other end of the corridor, pitch black eyes smiling at me with the creepiest smile you could ever imagine. I tried to turn back and run, but as I turned around, I was no longer on the staircase walkway. I found myself in the school hall, with rows and rows of entities sitting at the hall, staring at the platform. I vaguely remembered that there was a performance and dance, but the music was from the 1980s, and the entities resembled students, although I couldn't recognize the school uniform. I was paralyzed in fear. I just wanted to get out of whatever this place is. As I closed my eyes trembling, I felt a cold breeze blowing into my ear. A voice. Would you like to join us? I turned around and saw a middle-aged, balding woman with half of her face burned to the bone, staring right at me. I kid you not. I could still smell the burn till today. I lost consciousness shortly after. I was woken up by a familiar voice, Johnny. I still remember waking up screaming. I stopped when I noticed Johnny and a few other teachers beside me. The sky was showing the sunrise at 7 a.m. Are you all right, Michael? The sun has risen. You are fine now. I was hospitalized for 30 days as the doctors found burn marks on me, and I was severely dehydrated for some reason. It was as if I hadn't drunk water for a few days. When I finally returned to the school to resume work, everything seemed normal and no one really asked what really happened. It's like they knew, but they didn't want to talk about it. I did some research on the school, and guess what I found out? There was a big fire 30 years ago, and 21 students were burned alive, including a teacher that I really do not want to talk about or think about till today. I quit shortly after and landed myself a new job. I was a 19-year-old Year 2 student at Singapore Polytechnic when this incident occurred. Intrigued by the supernatural, I often spent my free time delving into related topics and even attempting to explore urban legends for the adrenaline rush. There were persistent rumors about the Red Bridge in my school. Legend had it that years ago, a distressed student went to the bridge with a rope and tragically committed suicide. The force of the fall severed her body into two pieces, with her head left hanging by the rope while the rest was found at the bottom of the building. Despite the school painting the bridge read to pacify spirits, cries and loud dropping sounds persisted, especially at 3 a.m. As I approached the end of my Year 2 module, with a 3-month semester break ahead, I decided to explore the rumored haunted bridge. Deep down, I suspected it was just a tale someone concocted along the way. On May 1st, 2008, I gathered with schoolmates Helen, Karen, and Junming to plan our excursion. We decided to sneak into the school, choosing a classroom far from the guardhouse to avoid detection. Knowing the lazy and grumpy fat security guard rarely ventured through every block and level, we arrived around 7 p.m., 2 hours before the school closed at 9 p.m. As students, we assumed the guard, known for his laziness and ever-present can of Coke, wouldn't be alarmed, thinking we were there for assignments or night classes. We successfully sneaked into block T21, the closest block to the bridge. Helen, being familiar with T21, knew the layout well and where we could hide for the night before our excursion. We unpacked quietly, making minimal noise, and brought along cooking equipment, creating a makeshift camping setup. Being avid fans of the supernatural, the prospect of exploring the haunted bridge sent shivers down our spines. The three of us enjoyed a quiet supper and took a brief 2-hour rest, as the rumors suggested that paranormal activities peaked around 3 a.m. I set our alarm for 2:30 a.m., allowing us 30 minutes to prepare our tools and gather our nerves before embarking on our eerie excursion. As the clock struck 3 a.m., we gathered our courage, equipped with cameras, voice recorders, and various paranormal investigation tools. Our excitement mingled with adrenaline and anxiety as we approached the infamous Red Bridge at Singapore Polytechnic. The air thickened with an eerie silence and sadness, and an otherworldly chill ran down our spines. We quickly unpacked our gear and, one by one, made our way to cross over the bridge to the other end to see if we could experience any paranormal activity. Karen was the last one behind us, a decision we still deeply regret to this day. We attempted to use a spirit EMF reader and other communication apps to ask questions, but all we got back were scattered noises and unclear sounds. Chaos ensued when Helen asked, "Why did you commit suicide?" A violent wind swept through, extinguishing our flashlights, leaving us shocked beyond words, realizing we were meddling with something beyond our understanding. I tried to calm the rest of us down and navigate ourselves back to the original starting point, but it was very dark, and Junji had night blindness. This is when we heard faint cries and the sound of something dropping echoing through the night. Our cameras captured nothing but unsettling anxiety among us. As we grappled with horror, the escalation took a sinister turn. We saw Karen at the other end, sitting at the railing of the bridge, as if she was teleported there. What was most disturbing was a red spectral figure materializing behind Karen, floating behind her, its disembodied head dangling from a rope separated from her floating body, looking at us with a mix of sadness and anger. We shouted at Karen to get down from the rail, but all we saw was her turning back at us with a sinister smile and waving goodbye. Desperation took hold, and we frantically recited prayers, yet our pleas seemed to only fuel its anger. As we grappled with horror, the escalation took a sinister turn. We found ourselves pinned to the floor of the bridge, unable to move, as if a malevolent force had pinned us down, while witnessing Karen jumping off the bridge in our very own eyes. Feeling helpless and mentally destroyed, Karen was declared dead on the scene when the police arrived, and all three of us were sent to the hospital unconscious. Helen committed suicide 3 years later, and Junji apparently cycled in and out of jail due to drug problems, and I am here telling you the story. After finally being deemed of sound mind by the hospital and released on probationary basis,